Lovato is in stable condition. It is unclear what drug or drugs were involved, but a source tells ET that she has been anxious, depressed, and in a downward spiral recently and relapsed sometime between April and May.
1997, Rescue 35, unconscious.
Just before 11:30 Tuesday morning, Los Angeles City Fire and EMS responded to a call of an unconscious woman at Demi Lovato's Hollywood Hills home.
Hey guys, it's Mo, and as you can probably tell by the title of this video, we are going to talk about a few things that are important to me and should be important to you as well. Whether you're dealing with them, know somebody who's dealing with them, or maybe you're fortunate enough where you don't deal with them at all, it's still important to talk about, discuss, and understand these things because they're affecting millions of people worldwide. The reason I decided to make this video and add anxiety and depression to it, anxiety and depression are things that I've personally dealt with and know a lot of people that have dealt with or are currently dealing with. But a lot of times those types of struggles can play a role and be very hand in hand with addiction. It's really unfortunate, but that just kind of seems to be a pattern with these mental illnesses. If you do personally deal with any of these things, I know it's very easy to get caught up in the comments, the snide remarks, the jokes all over the internet. You may hear them in passing as you're out and about living your daily life. Unfortunately, not everyone treats these things as seriously as they should. Yeah, you know, a joke is a joke. It's not meant to hurt somebody, but it still can. For me, if you are actually confident in who you are and understand the things that you have to deal with in your life, and you know, I can laugh at a joke, but when somebody takes it too far, I'm gonna say, hey, listen, I don't think you understand the severity of this situation. It may not hurt me what you're saying, but it could affect somebody that's not as strong in who they are or what they're dealing with. As we all know, earlier this week, the news broke out that Demi Lovato had an overdose in her home and was rushed to the hospital. Fortunately, she is stable and seems to be doing okay. They aren't letting out a whole lot of information thus far. I didn't really personally see jokes made about her in this situation, but it's not a situation to be taken lightly whatsoever. If you've watched her documentary, you know that she's dealt with various addictions, eating disorders, you know, depression, anxiety, all of that just kind of has been a package deal in her life, and it's really unfortunate. But the worst thing we can do is try to bring people down when they're dealing with these types of things, because in my experience, that's just going to lead them to turn back to those things even more. Anxiety has been the main thing that I have dealt with in my life. You know, anxiety to me kind of leads to depression. Anxiety, unless you've actually had it, it can be a bit hard to understand what those feelings are actually like. So I've had people in my life who don't have anxiety, at least not to the extent that I do. So when I am freaking out or having a panic attack or just like a moment where I know that it's my anxiety, some people just don't get it. They think, oh, just calm down, like why are you even worried about that? Well, it's not something I can help. You know, I get very in my head, I overthink things, and that leads to a feeling kind of in the pit of my stomach. I've gone through phases where I've lost a lot of weight because I haven't been eating correctly, and you know, it's a very real thing, and I've never really dove into it here on my channel, but with just, you know, seeing the headlines about Demi and just a lot of things in the news, I just thought it was something we should address and talk about, and you guys can kind of know where I stand on these things. Addiction is something that has had a pattern in my family. Fortunately, I'm not addicted to any type of substance. I don't really drink that much. If I do, it's something fruity with like no alcohol content. I've never been blackout drunk, don't ever plan to be. I don't enjoy the feelings that alcohol gives me. Never done any type of drugs that weren't prescribed by a doctor for a specific reason. I don't smoke. It's just, you know, for me, fortunately, those things are not attractive to me. I don't enjoy them. I don't really want much to do with them. Now, there are other things in my life, like I know that I am an impulsive shopper and I love to get new things. So like that is just as much of an addiction as drugs or alcohol, but fortunately, shopping most likely won't lead me to potentially risking my life. I have a family member that has heavily dealt with addiction on and off, and you would never think it would be someone who would have to deal with that. So you never know who you're going to come in contact with and what they're dealing with. And if you are someone that is struggling, anxiety, depression, addictions to things because of those, because you're trying to find some type of coping mechanism, just know you're not alone. I'm sure you've heard this a million times. There's a bunch of different hotlines. I'll see if I can find some and put them in the link below. You know, I'm here. I've had a lot of people, especially part of Team Grimmy, reach out to me and just share their story, or, you know, say, hey, this is how I'm feeling, and my family doesn't get it, or, you know, I don't know if I can do this anymore. You can do it. Your life has a purpose. Your life has a meaning. People aren't always going to understand what you're going through, why you're feeling the way you are, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they think. If you're struggling, no matter what it is, a struggle is a struggle. So there's really no reason to say, hey, my situation's worse than yours. To me, a mental illness, such as anxiety or depression, can have just as much weight on somebody's life as a diagnosis with cancer. Yes, that's a bit extreme, I know, but there's moments with anxiety and depression where you feel like the world is falling apart, you don't know how you can go on. I mean, this is severe cases we're talking about, but just understand it's a very real thing and it shouldn't be taken lightly just because you may not deal with it, or maybe you don't know anyone who has. I am not ashamed to say I have gotten help over the years. I've seen counselors. I have been on and off of medications. Medications are okay. You just need to be very careful. There are things out there for anxiety and depression that can become addictive, hence the addiction part relating. But I'm not on anything like that, or I only once, I think, had something that was considered addictive, so they only gave me a very small amount and I didn't even use all of that. I'm very careful with what medications and things I put in my body, but I also know that it's okay to get help. This all being said, we see examples like Demi Lovato in the news and stuff because she's a public figure and a lot of people care about what goes on in her life. And just realize that doesn't just happen to celebrities. That can happen to you, to me, your neighbor, your friend, your co-worker. Just because it's not broadcast doesn't mean it's not just as real. So just really be cautious what you guys put out on the internet. It's okay to have fun, it's okay to make memes, but just be sensitive of the topics of those things. I know this video is kind of different, it's very real, and I just really felt led to share some of this all with you. Like I said, if you think that you're facing any of these things and aren't already seeking help, you should definitely do so. Your life is very precious. God loves you. I love you. We just want the best for you and for you to be able to overcome or, you know, somehow be able to deal with these things that you're facing in your life. So guys, I love you. Like I said, if you have any questions or just want to talk, feel free to leave a comment or message me on any of my social medias. I'm usually best to answer on Instagram or Twitter. I thank you for just kind of hearing me out. If you've got anything else to share, leave a comment below. You know, let's encourage each other. It's a tough world that we live in, and I don't see it getting much better. So let's do the best we can, whether it's something small like a smile or something big like actually taking your friend to the doctor because they aren't well enough to take themselves. I don't know. Just, you know, let's be there for each other and build each other up and do our best to overcome these things that unfortunately are growing so prominent in the world today. Yeah, okay. So that's about it. Got some fun ideas for some future videos coming up. If there's any covers you guys really want to see, let me know. And I guess that's about it today. Yeah. Alright, love you guys. See you next time.